Everybody, Josh Sigurdson, a World Alternative Media here, and of course we're joined by author and economic analyst here at WAM, John Sneisen, and in an attempt to stop the market from bubbling more than it already has and popping in Berlin, Germany, something that would make East Germany proud, there are bans in place and regulations that are coming into place that will stop people from fixing up their own house because you can't bring the value up. It's getting really scary. People in Berlin are getting worried about the inevitable burst of the bubble, and what do? Well, let's just allow everything to become dilapidated. It is getting really bad in Berlin, and people say that we're charlatans and we're just going on and on about fear-mongering, all that kind of stuff all the time. No, these are the results of an actual bubble, folks. This is insane, and this is growing in so many places, and this is a result of crazy, out-of-control derivatives, just debt, just speculation, and faith in a market that doesn't have true fundamental value. John, you got a Norwegian article. Now, I did look a little bit at a Wall Street Journal article, but then the ad wall came up and told me that I had to pay for the article to read it further. So we're going with the Norwegian article today, and it's lucky because we have a Norwegian with us who will help us get through this. But let's just go through this quick because it just looks like a whole bunch of gobbledygook on that. But go ahead, John. What's going on?
Well, I got a couple of points I want to make here, Josh. So let's just quickly go through them. So property prices in Berlin has gone up 20% last year. So that's an insane jump in price just right there. It's pretty similar to what we've seen in some places in Vancouver or in BC and in Ontario and Toronto area. And property rentals has gone up by 120% since 2004. And of course, what have happened because of this price rise is that they have stopped. They call them anti-speculation laws in Berlin. And what these are supposed to do is, and it's 46 different zones, as they call them in the city of Berlin, that have implemented these laws. And what that is, it's basically you can't renovate your house or your apartment, or if you want to buy and flip, like you all over North America around problems, you can't do that anymore. Well, you can own and hold it and you could renovate it, but you cannot sell it whatsoever. There's not anything that you, even actually your personal house or apartment, you can't do anything to if you want to actually get rid of it. It's very similar to actually Argentina. You can't sell your property. We were talking about that in Argentina video, I think a month or so ago. So it's not very good what is happening. And this is basically communist laws that have been implemented. Yeah. And of course, they don't mention that in the Norwegian news articles because they're half commies all over Norway as well.
Yeah, well, I wanted to mention, John, because, there's a mixture of nanny state and just pure communist regulations trying to stop the inevitable from happening, but inevitably making it worse. And that's what it comes down to here is that, people have fallen into this trap of government regulation and this blind belief in statism as a religion. And that is where we see a lot of these things happening, where people just think, well, everything's fine. The government's looking out for me. They will take care of me. No, the government and the banking system create these problems in the first place. Central planning, vast amounts of regulations, and now we see what's happening in Germany as a result of out of control centralization, manipulation, and this is a form of manipulation. So, John, what do you think this will result in? Because I don't know. I've never really studied exactly how these things result after they've put in these stupid regulations so that people can't sell their home and make profit off of something.
Well, actually, I'll tell you exactly what it'll look like because they're telling us in the article. This is insane, Josh. So a representative from the district of Friedrichshain-Kreuzberg says that they bought over 1,000 apartments since 2017. And the goal is to own 25% of all the apartments in that community. That's insane. That is, now you're... As you said, we were talking about just by hearing the first things in the article that it was a communist policies. Well, look at what they're trying to do. They're literally trying to buy the government is buying real estate in order to try to keep the bubble from crashing, because that's what it's going to go. It's going to go really bad, especially if you get the government involved and their dirty hands on everything. It's just going to get even worse because they are not willing probably to let prices drop. And you're just going to see a terrible infestation of, as you said, dilapidated homes, because it's going to be, unfortunately, Berlin seems to be moving towards, a complete ghetto, and slumlords will take over. Well, the slumlord is the government.
Yeah, actually, that I was just about to mention the slumlords, because we've talked about it. Kind of reminds me of these renters' laws where we have all over the world, where you can't raise the rent a certain amount, and therefore you don't put a lot of work into renovating and making the place better. Bug infestations take over. Basically, everywhere you go, that's a big city, you'll find when you're trying to rent somewhere, there are bug infestations everywhere. It's ridiculous how it's insane, and it's so disgusting, folks. And that is a result of these governments and banks centrally planning everything, centralizing everything. And we got to look at the derivatives, John. So I mean, we've talked about in the past the amount of derivatives, credit default swaps, mortgage-backed securities, collateralized debt obligations, the return of these beasts that we've seen in the past leading up to 2007. It's like no one ever learns, but of course the collateralized debt obligations are okay now because they're called collateralized loan obligations, because that totally changes the whole situation a lot. Change the name, that's what you should do. And what's really crazy is that we're seeing this bubble start to get worse and worse in many places around the world. Robert Kiyosaki just told us he's selling his real estate, which is something that he doesn't usually do. And on top of that, we see banks like Deutsche Bank in Germany on the verge of collapse. 10,000 people that they are laying off. That's 1 in 10 of their employees. They were downgraded. They've been caught rigging markets and all this kind of stuff. The usual stuff that you find from banks, just like Wells Fargo in the States and Bank of Montreal in Canada and elsewhere. This stuff just never ends, and it's why you as individuals need to prepare yourself, because this isn't about scaring you. This is about providing solutions, but first understanding the problem. And not the same Hegelian dialectic of problem, reaction, solution, repeat that we get from government and banks, and they're there to save you by shoving you down a bottomless pit of debt, forcing you to ask for a ladder up from the government and the banking system, putting you into perfect servitude right where they want to. It's about you being able to, look at these problems and then say, wow, I need to actually protect my purchasing power. I need to protect myself and my family going forward, and, not invest, but ensure wealth. And this is my opinion, not investment advice, but I mean, looking at things like gold and silver and stuff, like when you're looking at a real estate market like this makes you want to run for the hills, because who on earth wants to buy up these kinds of properties unless they are insane at this point? And then
the government is.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'll end up, with ghost cities like in China. John, what is your bottom line for the people of Germany that are watching right now?
Well, the bottom line is that you are in complete disarray because your economy has gotten to a point where it's been, first of all, manipulated by ultra low interest rates. You got to remember the German interest rates, some of them are in the negative, which is totally insane in the first place. And of course, not only that, but a lot of foreign investors are coming in. They're flocking all over the world, to try to find somewhere to shove in billions upon billions of dollars of money into, getting some return from pension funds, sovereign wealth funds. All these different big institutional investors are just running, to try to find any return to save their promised, we talked about all the pensions, right? So all that promised money to everybody, which is kind of like falling apart as well. And that's what we're seeing in Germany is what is happening when that happens. And of course, it happened here in Canada, in Oslo, in Australia, everywhere, there's a potential of low prices in real estate. They've been just rushing in with billions upon billions of dollars together with all the others investors, and people have been making, the smart people have made a lot of money probably in Berlin still, but now of course they got caught in the crosshairs by communist governments that are trying to manipulate the markets in order to keep this bubble from popping. So what I would say to Germans is, if you are in one of those places, I would just sell and get the hell out of Berlin. That's in my opinion, because
if you can sell,
if you still can, if you renovated your house, or maybe you put up a toilet roll holder at your bathroom, then you can't sell your house. No, it's utterly insane, and that's where you just gotta try to get out of some of these places. Look at, like, Germany is really falling apart, I feel like it is, with a lot of heavily socialized and communist policies.
Well, yeah, they will be using their worthless fiat in Germany and putting that on the toilet roll soon enough. So that's a big issue that is coming at them face first. And
they have a lot of old Weimar, notes, Josh.
Well, yeah, they've learned, but they haven't learned. That's the thing about centralization and course of collectivism going, in full circle. No matter fascist or communistic, it always comes full circle, folks. And I would like to mention that, there's 2 articles in the world right now on this subject. One's in Norwegian, which I would guess most of you do not know how to read, and the translations are terrible. And the other one is on the Wall Street Journal, and it has a paywall. So, I mean, this is basically the only way that most of you are going to hear about this story until someone else reports on it, but we have to do it if no one else is going to do it.
Or if you're German, just read in some German newspapers. There has to be somebody covering this, but we unfortunately can't find it.
Yeah. It's not surprising at all that there's a bit of a censorship on information in Germany, of all places. And
surprise.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. So we will continue to cover the story. We need to focus more on Berlin because obviously there's a lot happening. There's countless stories coming out just regarding the fact that there is obviously a huge bubble. And then you find other articles talking about you need to buy now. Berlin's a great place to buy. It's desperation, folks. This is all desperation. It's a sign that those people that you put all your faith into the hands of don't know what they are doing, and they will come crashing down with it. You need to be self-sustainable.
One last word. Das Bundesbank hast Angst.
Yes. Anyway, thanks for going into this with us, John. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson and John Sneisen signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth. Be the change. Like what you see here, OM? Don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so overwhelmingly demonetized by YouTube as they bring in the ADL to flag all of our content as hate speech. Also check our Bitcoin address in the description as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And also check us out at Steemit at Josh Sigurdson, the future of social media, where you get paid in the upvote of your post in cryptocurrency, Steem that is. So don't forget to check us out there and find us at Anarchapulco 2019. I know it's early, but this is such an exciting event coming up with Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, David Icke, Larkin Rose, Jeff Berwick, all the usual characters, and it's going to be amazing. So we hope to see you there. Make sure to check the link for Anarchapulco below and use promo code WHAM to save as much as 15% on your tickets. We hope to see you there. But until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.